I have. We did the story last hour about the high school girl that they made a mistake in the yearbook, and she's Muslim, and they made a mistake by making her first name Isis. Now, I've now figured out how they could make the mistake. You know what her first name really is?
ISIL?
It's Bayan. See how easy it is to make that mistake?
Yeah, the letters are like right
They're so
next
close.
to...
Bayan. Of course. I mean, that's an easy ISIS. I mean, they're all letters in the alphabet. I mean, anybody could make that mistake.
Well, you sucked me right in. You did.
Me too. We said it in unison.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, at least I could understand that.
Her name
right?
was Bayan, Bayan, and somehow they gave her the name Isis.
Not so outwardly prejudicial if we had been right.
Well, what is amazing is it's hard today for these. I really think it's hard for the yearbook committees and whoever's. I would not want to be the teacher that is the advisor on the yearbook committee.
Look at how many yearbook stories we've done.
Yeah, you got the
we've done
kid
at least 8.
who exposed himself and let Ryan borrow that mic just for a second. Ryan, pull that mic up just for a second. And are you on the yearbook committee?
No, I'm not.
But you're in the yearbook.
Yeah.
So, were there any pranks done over in New Hartford this year? Somebody slipped something in?
Not that I know of. I haven't gotten it yet.
When I was in school, the one was you'd have a group of kids, and somewhere almost it would happen. Somebody would have the middle finger up, right? And there'd be like 10 people in a photo. Somebody'd be playing around with the middle finger there a little bit.
Now that wouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah. It would be an issue.
It's like,
Well,
where's
not
Waldo?
as bad. Just
It'd be an
exposing
issue.
yourself.
Well, exposing yourself.
Well, that's a crime, though. This stuff is,
But
it's being treated as a crime.
But still, we are still in a society where a kid giving the middle finger and actually having it show up in the yearbook would still be a story.
Right.
But
Right.
you're right. I mean, we've had, others like the kid exposing himself. I mean, could you imagine that? I mean, don't you think that somebody on the team, the football team, they all had to know? You've been in, like the kid who exposed himself.
Oh, yeah.
And wouldn't you even think that maybe somebody in the yearbook committee knew, and they're like, let's see if we can get this one through. I mean, that's my radio career. It's like every morning I come in and say, let me see if I can squeeze this in and see if they say anything.
Yeah, we play this game a lot.
Yeah, it's a cat and mouse game. I really enjoy it myself.
My favorite.
It is fun, isn't it? Anyway, so you have no idea, Ryan.
No. Well, I mean, I know there's a picture of our student section, and they put on like our Twitter account for New Hartford and stuff for the school. And there's a few kids, giving the finger, like you said. And you could clearly see it. And I'm surprised that they haven't caught it yet.
They have now.
I know.
Probably now they have, yeah.
So that's on the Twitter page, the school Twitter page.
You could easily see some of them. I'm like, okay.
And no one's caught it. Except for the kids.
Yeah.
Wait until you get to school today.
I know.
And what are you going to
just announced
do?
it.
I mean, what are you going to do to those kids? What do you do? It's do you say you can't walk in graduation? You can't do that. Do you fire the kid who's in charge of the Twitter page? Well, you can't fire him. He doesn't make any money, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Give somebody detention. Whatever. All right. Throw the mic back over to Cindy, if you could. In studio here, Cindy Chan Phillips. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning.
Good to see you.
So we brought up the topic of The Biggest Loser. And Donald Trump wanted to start a program called The Biggest Loser, but that was just a bunch of people he didn't like. This Biggest Loser is on NBC, and it's about people losing weight. So the little play on the words, Biggest Loser. Mm-hmm. And they lose a lot of weight. So you'll have somebody who's, 400 pounds? Some that are even more, right? Does anybody watch this show?
Oh, yeah.
Got 800-pound people, right?
I mean, it's the same thing. I haven't watched it in a while because it's always the same thing. It's right. You're morbidly obese. If you don't make a lifestyle change, you're going to die of some, heart disease or something.
How many times can these programs go through another season?
Well, I think
because it is always the same
viewership is waning
thing.
significantly on this show.
How many different storylines can you get that you really care about?
And there's really a mistreatment, and I think there's been some spin-off stories on this as well, and how some of them are treated. In a lot of cases, there's shaming that goes on, and as a matter of fact, it was in this article about the Metabolism that one of the contestants said there were in their living room, for lack of a better term, it was their living room. There would be pictures of if you have a trouble spot, maybe it's your, what do they call that? The muffin tops on the side.
Yeah.
Or if you have maybe some sagging under the arm, they would photo it and then put it up like the family portrait. And they would go, that's how disgusting you look. There was a lot of, so anyway. But yeah, I think this show is really near the end.
We're going to try to get Warren Honeycutt, if you could now, Davey, if you could. But that's what we're going to kind of talk about. But on the program, what are your thoughts on this very extreme weight loss, and it happens very fast?
I know it's a very successful show, and but the health risks of being obese and overweight is a very serious issue. So it's not just an entertainment. And then what I have trouble with shows like those is that it almost shows that it's a matter of mind control, it's a matter of self-control. And now we understand more about the biology and the metabolism. It really is not so much about, you're eating too much, you're moving not enough, that's why you gain weight. There's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
When you lose weight in such a short time, you lose your fat mass. Sure, you lose water, but you also lose lean muscle mass, and that kind of greatly determines your metabolism, and that is why your metabolism is depressed, and that's probably the centerpiece of the study that you're referring to.
Listen, we had people with questions, and we thought we'd bring this back because I have questions of my own. 7360186. If you want to, maybe you're working out and you're struggling. I had one guy call last week that said, I used to be able to drop weight, and now it's just not happening for some reason. And I'm not eating more than I used to. It's just something is up. Warren Honeycutt is an expert in weight loss, fitness, and nutrition. He loves helping both men and women reach their fitness goals by teaching them to achieve maximum results in minimum time. His greatest joy comes from helping people, young and old, change their bodies, minds, spirits, and lives into what they want them to be. And Warren, what are your thoughts on this story on The Biggest Loser, where they're saying their metabolism has not only been, so ruined their metabolism, but some are saying it might be ruined permanently?
Well, I disagree that it's ruined permanently, Bill.
Okay.
But the point is of the story, yes, the metabolism drops when you drop weight. And the reason for that being primarily, and I just got the tail end of the conversation you were having with the young lady, and I agree with her 100%.
Yeah.
Is that you drop the weight, but fat or muscle requires a certain amount of calories to sustain its life. Now, the difference is fat on average takes about 5 calories an hour. A day. 24-hour day.
Yeah.
Muscle, on the other hand, a pound of it, same weight, takes 10 times what fat does. So when you take a 400-pound person and you drop 100 pounds, and 90 of it is fat, and 10 of it is muscle, all of a sudden the metabolism goes down by 500, 600, 700 calories a day. And the biggest issue, and I'm not a fan, I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm not a fan of The Biggest Loser because, their whole gist is to help people lose weight as fast as they can in a short period of time. And that, if you do that, you set yourself up, and a lot of people do, with going on a diet, and then they think, okay, as soon as I get off my diet, I can eat what I want to. Well, what's that going to do for you?
Yeah.
It's going to put you right back where you were. And so it's kind of like Mark Twain says, it's not the things we don't know that get us in trouble. It's the things that we know for certain that just ain't true.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So
I want to. I'm going to say that what's interesting about, they said years ago that the soap operas were programs that women would love to sit and watch, and they all sat around and said, wow, these people are crazy. My life is bad, but it's not nearly that bad. And it made people feel good about themselves. And I kind of wonder if you look at these shows, they really take the extremes. So you have people that are morbidly obese. We're talking, 500, 600, 700, 800 pounds. And the rest of America is looking back on it and saying, hey, I'm overweight, but I'm not this bad. It's almost where they're trying to make people feel good about themselves by making fun of somebody else.
Well, I don't disagree with that at all, Bill. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And they're about entertainment. They're about advertising dollars. They're not really about helping people make a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And if you do anything short term, it's going to be short term.
Going to be short term. You're going to gain that weight back, and then probably more, which I certainly myself have seen. Cindy Chan Phillips is with the New York Beef Council. She's a nutritionist. And what do you want to say there, Cindy?
Well, I want to say that a certain amount of weight regain is normal after weight loss. So it's a couple of things we can keep in mind is, number one is you want to make sure that you maintain your lean muscle mass as much as possible during weight loss. So when you regain weight, studies have shown that when you increase your protein in your diet during your weight loss, and when you regain your weight, you actually regain far less, 1.6 pound versus 6 pound of weight regain. So that's one thing to remember. Second thing is when you focus on losing weight so quickly, it's very hard to sustain, because when you gain the weight back, the weight regain is mostly in the form of fat, which is metabolically very inactive. So you want to aim for 10% over 6 months. That's what the recommendation is.
So 10% weight loss. Warren, you agree with that? 10% over 6 months?
Yes. 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds at max.
Yeah.
If you go above that, you're going to be messing up a whole lot of things as far as your hormones. And even food affects our brain.
Yeah.
And exercise affects our brain. And in a positive way in regard to the exercise. And when we're not feeling well and when our mood is not good, then the best thing we can do is exercise. Jack LaLanne, my hero, my favorite quote from him is, exercise is king, nutrition is queen. Put them together, you have a great kingdom called life.
Yeah. You know, it is interesting about what makes you feel when you're down, what makes you feel better. And we've trained ourselves, and you hear people do this. It's like they're not feeling well, or they're a little off by midday, and they're like, well, I need a cup of coffee, or I haven't eaten anything yet, so I need to get some calories in me. It's almost like we're assigning something to a feeling that we have. And if you could say exercise is one of the answers to make you feel better, that would change everything, right?
It should.
Yeah.
And there's scientific evidence that exercise, as little as a 10-minute walk at lunch, increases the endorphins in your body, especially dopamine, which is the feel-good enzyme from, or let me say it in this way, cocaine and heroin increase that dopamine. And exercise does the same thing. So you don't have to have that sugary snack, or you don't have to have so many things that we, just like you pointed out, they'll get involved in. And exercise, too, takes away those cravings.
And one last question I want to ask you, Warren, and that is, exercise being how much? There are people out there that are they're training for a road race. Ours here is the Boilermaker. There are some people doing these CrossFit or these extreme. What's the program Andrew's on? Is it CrossFit? Or,
no, that was Manaski.
You did CrossFit. He's doing, but it's extreme, hard, really high workout, high level workout. So what is the answer? Is too much a problem? Should you? I mean, obviously too little is a problem. What are your thoughts?
It depends on goals. I mean, if someone's training for a marathon, certainly they're going to have to put in the hours.
Sure.
If they're doing it for weight control, and if I could use myself as an example, Bill, I'm 63 years old, have a body fat of 6-7%, and that's where I stay year-round.
Yeah.
And people say, you must live in the gym. No, not at all. I've got a life outside the gym. And the thing I do is about 2 hours of resistance training a week, and about 2 hours of aerobic, but that's including HIIT, high-intensity interval training. And that keeps my metabolism running at about 3,000 calories a day, which, for anybody is pretty doggone good.
Yeah.
And that's what I put my clients on. And I don't want them to get burned out. I want them to do something that they enjoy as a lifestyle and see the benefits of it to live their life better.
And if people want to know what you look like, your website, am I correct in saying your website is getlean.guru?
Yes.
Getlean.guru. You can check out Warren and see his success. Warren, as always, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. Always great to be with you.
And Cindy, of course, is the one we really focus on with the Beef Council. And Cindy, you have strong beliefs on this, and you have really imposed them on me over the course of the last year, and I've completely ignored you. So I just want you to say, I'll admit I've ignored you, and I've tried so many of these other diets, and you lose, but then you gain it right back.
Well, a lot of things we have to think about is what is it in our lifestyle that leads us to our food choices? Because our lifestyle is really sometimes is more important than what you actually put on your plate.
Sure.
And I totally commend your focus on exercise, important exercise with Warren. Keep in mind that very, very simple thing to keep in mind is make sure you're eating enough protein. Protein plus resistance training equals success. Because when you do that, you're improving the metabolism of your body. And one of the points that I picked out from a study that you are referring to that was published in the obesity journal is when you lose weight so quickly, there's a hormone called leptin that went down. Now that's normal.
Yep.
That's normal because leptin is a hormone released by fat tissues. So when you lose fat tissues, your body thinks, well, you know what? You are starving. So let's reduce the amount of leptin to allow you to eat. So to allow you to eat.
Yeah.
So when you have fat tissues, the leptin is higher. And your body says, well, you know what? You're fine. You don't need to eat as much. Now, that all works fine because when you lose weight, your leptin goes down, then you want to eat and you gain a little bit more weight. And then it should be kind of self-adjusting. The problem with a lot of us walking around with a current food system is we have something called a leptin resistance. Our body does not self-adjust as well. So we keep eating. So that is why you read some of the article referring to the study.
Yeah.
They say that those 14 contestants saying that they just have this lack of control about needing to eat. The drive to eat comes from nowhere.
Right,
that's because the biology of our body is so strong.
So it's beyond just habit. It can be chemical as well.
Absolutely. And that's the effect of when we depress our metabolism so much and losing the lean muscle mass.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Website, people should yours, of course, you're on the
Go to
the beef website.
www.nybeef.org. You can find a lot more recipes that you can increase more protein in your daily diet.
And you're not saying necessarily go on an Atkins. You still want carbs.
That's correct.
You're not a fan of eliminating carbs.
I'm a fan of what science recommends is a balanced diet.
I hate to say it, but we are such a
Moderation.
society, we love fast. So you want to lose a lot fast, and then you're feeling all good about it. But then...
Think about it. Sustainability is the key.
Keeping it off.
Yeah.
All right, Cindy, good stuff. Quick break. We'll wrap it up here in a second. 8:55 at WIBX.